Welcome to Rooftop Conversations. My name is May, and today, so back like before I went to law school, I had probably the most interesting job in my life. It was like 4 months of probably the most. I'm telling you, it's interesting work. I think I learned a lot, made some mistakes that I shouldn't have done, but it was a crazy
Honey.
time in my life that like I worked in a retail store. And of course, obviously, I think as you heard from my previous episode, I've made some of the greatest friends there. And of course, I'm going to interview someone that I became. This is probably like my right hand woman when I was working in retail. So I'm going to introduce you to one of my dear friends, Genevieve Amoncio. And I hope I'm not pronouncing your last name wrong. Oh my
No.
God. I feel so embarrassed. But Genevieve, I would love you for you to introduce yourself. So like just tell people like what you do, who you are, and the like the basic like first day of school response introductory message.
Okay, I got you, girl. Well, it was such a nice experience in meeting you at Ann Taylor. I could definitely say you were one of my right hand girls as well. So basically, I work in the marketing industry right now, where I work under. Actually, I'm not even gonna say the industry, agency, but I do work under paid social, where basically what that is I do advertising on social media. So that's LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, possibly Reddit, maybe TikTok. We're still dabbling into those areas. But yeah, I'm a Virgo, 23, out here living life, staying home, not doing shit, learning the ukulele. That's me in a little nutshell.
That's awesome. Like I'm so proud to see like how you grown in your career and like now that you're this like that you're an actual businesswoman in marketing, running your own like doing your own gigs, doing your own like projects in this like field. So I'm really proud to see like the person I knew back then and like how much you've grown. And I'm so proud of you for like all your accomplishments. It really does mean a lot like to see how far like you've come. And I'm so proud of you for like doing like what you do. Oh no. Don't worry, see the wind's
The
coming out my
wind,
end too. I have
the
the wind.
wind, bro. Damn.
So I would love to hear, this is a question I ask all my like guests on the show. I think I did touch on like how we met, but I love to hear from you the details of how we met and what was your honest first impression of me.
All right, bad girl, I got you. So I'm gonna be real with you. So when I first met you, I was like really unsure of who to talk to in Aunt Taylor. I was just like, all right, let me just. This is just a job. I'm not really here trying to make friends or whatever. And then like I got to know you, and I was like, I think we like bonded over boys, right? I, yeah, and so I don't know, like we just started to talk mad shit about everything, and I was like, yo, I fucks with this girl, like I can relate to her, tell her all the details and shit, and just get really in there. And I think that's just how everything started. I was like, all right, I fucks with her. I would like chill outside with her, kind of thing. And yeah, that was like my first impression of you, and ever since then we've had like so many stories at Ann Taylor. It's just crazy. Not gonna go into details though.
We're not gonna go into details of what happened in
Not
the
gonna
store.
go into
But you know
details.
what's so funny? Like I came up with the same mentality too. I was like, so it was so weird. So I came, but I can tell you like people like my story about how I came to Ann Taylor. I went because I graduated college early and I had this like gap semester between law school and undergrad. And my loans were coming in, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to pay off my loans soon. Like, what do I do? I don't have money, and I'm like calling like all these different office jobs, right? Like in government and like law offices and like whatever reception offices, and they're all like, well, we're not going to hire someone for just like 6 months before like they go to law school. What's the point? So I didn't get a job, and I'm like stressing out because my bills are coming in. My best friend, the one I think you know her, um,
Karen?
yeah, she tells me, and she's like, I think you should just work for a retail job, like just do it. So I go on the internet, and I'm like looking like highest paying retail jobs, right? And like number one was Nordstrom
And
Rack.
Taylor?
And I'm like, I'm not gonna work at Nordstrom because I had a friend that worked in a big like department store, retail store, and she's like telling me all these horror stories. So I'm like, no.
Oh hell
And I see
no.
number two, Ann Taylor. And I'm like, okay, I know this is like an old woman's store. My mom like shops there. Like, I'm not gonna spend any money there. It's probably like super calm. I'm sure I'm not gonna, like, because I know people who worked in retail before, and they're like, there's so much drama. There's like
Hell
all
yeah.
these like there's all this drama, and like I'm thinking like, okay, this probably happens with like the Zara or the Urban
Mhm.
Outfitters when people are like a little more younger. So I'm like, Ann Taylor, it's only all old people, like old women, like. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna apply. Like, there's no drama. It pays. It's number 2 on the highest paying list, and I go.
Beacon.
And I'm like, oh, there's a lot of young people. There's okay. So my first time going into Ann Taylor, right? I think I told someone this in like our previous episode. So first off, I came in like I'm just gonna work. This is just a job for like what 4 to 6. Well, six. I thought I was gonna work till like August. So I was like, this is probably
Mhm.
gonna be like 6 month job that I'm gonna work till August. Like leave. I'm not gonna make any more friends. I'm gonna keep to myself. No drama.
Right.
um, not talk to anybody. But then it turns out, and then like everyone was like intimidating for me, right? So I was like, oh my god, everyone.
Same.
They were like model types. I was like,
All
yeah, I'm
right,
the
girl. I don't know
security
about that.
lawyer. But they were all like, I think what it was is like I wasn't any like I was not like any of the girls. So I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna make friends here. But then one of our friends, I think, this he was on my other episode. Matt, shout out to Matt if you're listening. We love
Hey,
you.
Matt.
It was the best. I think that's who we bonded over, and Matt was like amazing. I think like that is still to this day my guy, and yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, he's a
I'm like, well,
sweetheart.
I'm really taking so much from your episode. I'm talking too much, but yeah, no,
No.
I think honestly, like, I think honestly till this day, like, I was talking to my friends. They're like, wait, it's been like how many years? It's been like 5 years since I worked there, and I think like
Damn.
some of the funniest stories that happened to me there happened during that time. So I'm like, oh my
That's
god,
fact.
like
I got some footage. Like,
I still have footage from you too. Like I will
oh,
post. But anyway, like honestly, like to people who are listening, like Genevieve really was my girl there. Like she would come and like the retail was hard. Like, it was one of the hard. Like I remember like
it
crying my
was.
first
There
week
were
because like
tears there.
it was so the worst.
There
I
were
was like, oh,
tears.
I was crying my first week, and then I remember like, but like you made it great for me. I think like you were one of the few people, and obviously like Matt and like our other friend, they made it like really great for me. I like remember
Yeah.
you guys would come in the back. Like I used to be on fitting room duty, which was like the best, but also the worst
The
job
best.
there. So, because you would
Yeah.
gossip, like you would go in the back and gossip, but it smelled horrible in there.
I
And
know.
I
I
don't know, it's so
forgot.
gross. I used to ask anyway. Like working retail was interesting. But actually, since we're on the topic, how was it like for you? Like, I want to hear because you did the whole Ann Taylor thing. I think you came
Bro,
after
three
me.
years.
Okay, so obviously we like had such like an interesting experience in retail. So I would love to know, like, now that you're in marketing, how did your retail experience help you transition into a career in marketing? Well, first of all, how was your experience in retail as a whole? And then
Mhm.
also, how did that experience shape or at least helped you, if it did, with your marketing career?
So for me, my retail experience, it was honestly great. I can't lie. Like I first worked in the Manhattan area for Ann Taylor, and I met some interesting, fun people. You know, we had a couple of drinks, that one happy hour, that was it, and I was like, okay, these people are cool.
Wait, I
And
didn't get
then
invited to the happy hour. Well, I mean, they didn't really like
no,
me back then.
I doubt that. I doubt that. Or maybe it's I don't. It's all a fuck, honestly. Whatever. But yeah, retail. It was a good experience. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I felt like there was just so much fun drama. Like it wasn't like crazy drama. It was just more so like kind of thing. It's just like, oh, that really happened. Like, let me get my popcorn and like listen in more. And then I also went to the one in Long Island, and that one I'm not gonna lie, that experience was pretty nice too. Just because like they always always had snacks, bro. We talking popcorn, we talking Twizzlers, we talking Chips Ahoy, Oreos, vanilla wafers, like so much candy, bro. Just like, bro, it's lit. I'm gaining weight. I'm popping. Like I love this shit. And the girls, they were just so kind there. Yeah, I know, like completely different experience, but they were pretty sweet. They were pretty sweet. Um, but working there, I learned how to talk to the customers, as in like ask them so many questions. It was basically like dating them. I was literally asking them like who they were, what do they like, why are they here? Literally just asking them life questions like we're best friends or some shit. You know what I mean? And like some of them, they would honestly like they would tell me like financial advice, and I was like, okay, like I should look up this person. Okay, bet. And they were just so sweet, you know. And um, the reason I think that this helped me into the marketing career was because it helped me understand and how to ask these important questions. Just because, as you know, in marketing, it's very important to, you know, really understand who the consumer is, what they want, and what they're looking for. So when looking into that audience, you're just like, okay, like this is their type. This is their type of behavior. These are the interests that they like, and this is what they might like, you know? Um, so yeah, that really helps me into the marketing area, just literally asking them questions and understanding the consumer.
No, I like definitely agree. I think like, well, first of all, I'm really jealous that your Long Island experience had snacks. Like, really? Because all I remember the closest things we snack to snacks that we got was, remember the you know the older lady who used to come in and bring us cookies. That was the only time we ever had snacks. And then when I used to bring the breath mints in my like, you know,
Yeah, that's the video I have of you. That is the video I have, dude.
the breath mints in my
I know.
food.
And you were like, I don't even know if I should bring it
I
up,
was,
but
no, we can figure out. I feel like it's a story. I was just like, I remember I would like because I didn't have, cause I would wear a dress right to work because they would have to wear
yeah,
their clothes, and you know like we couldn't chew gum, but you also didn't want like bad breath when you're talking to the
right,
customers. So I'm like,
right,
I used to put it here in my like bra,
yeah,
and then I think at first it was like me, you, and like your other like our other friend who knows, it was like three of us, and then other people
yeah.
started catching on like wait, hold on, May
Like,
has
what's
mint.
going on?
Yeah, cause I used to
Uh-huh.
like gum mints off of like our like one of the managers because he used to have mints all the time. But then you know I was like I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring my own mints because I can't rely on him all the
Uh-huh.
time. So I like put my own mints in here. I remember that.
Right.
But but anyway, like yeah, I definitely agree. Like it teach like retail taught me like how to. For I hate like I'm that person who goes into a store and I hate talking to the people who are like, how are you? How are you today? Like, because I'm someone that like wants to put in my earphones and like just let me look at the clothes and like let me leave, right? But like I think it's taught me how to like interpersonally connect with like one-on-one conversations, talk to them like genuinely and like at least like you know, it's gonna help me. I know in my career, when if I start running for office and have to start talking to people and campaigning, it definitely helped me on that. And I definitely agree. I think it's like a lot of and like yeah, like you make these like connections where like I know for me, I met tons of lawyers used to go to Ann Taylor, and so I would like before going to law school, I would like network with them, like, oh, how was law school like? What did you do? I met an alum who graduated from the law school I eventually attended. I met this girl who she's now in law school now, but she did like a lot of like human rights work, and we actually connected. We're still connected on Instagram and everything. So like I've met like honestly, as much as I hated retail, the experience really like made parts of my life come true.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think I agree. Like a lot of it's like marketing, right? You have to know like how to target your message to someone. It's like sending like a message for a social media campaign out to a like for a company, right? You have to address it to a certain audience, and like
Hmm.
same thing. It's like similar to like selling a dress, right? They used to make us sell like 50 things per day. It's like the same
I
concept.
know. We had to meet these freaking quotas and like sell like 5 credit cards, like bro,
Yeah,
relax.
I never used I never used I was like no but my fitting room skills definitely had people talking. See, that's why because management didn't like me, but then they respected me, but they also didn't like me, and I'm like, great, okay, great.
Like you just can't win. You can't
I just
win. It's
can't
hard.
I
Just
told
couldn't.
my mom like it was like the one job where like my bosses hated me. I've never went to a job where the bosses did not like me until I came there, and I was like, great, this is awesome. But anyway, um, I'm digressing so much today. This is like ridiculous.
No, this is going great. This is going great, I think.
I feel like no, but yeah, and then like yeah, definitely, I agree with everything you said. So like, you went to school that's kind of like for like a business school in New York, a business geared college in New York, and you know like there's so many things that you could do in the realm of business, right? There's like the marketing, there's the communications, there's the finance, the selling. So what made you specifically interested in the marketing part? Like why
Yeah.
marketing? What interest? Why did you have an interest in that?
It's actually funny. At first, I didn't even, this wasn't my first option. Like, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I definitely did try to shoot for veterinarian school. And it was just, unfortunately, it did not go well because classes were at nighttime. And I literally was at Mercy College from like a 9 to 9 type of schedule. And it was just like very draining. So by the time it was 9 o'clock, like I couldn't really focus. And I'm not a coffee kind of girl at all. So I don't even drink coffee. So it was just so difficult to even stay up. So when that didn't work out, unfortunately, I switched over and went to Baruch College. So if anyone's at Baruch College, like where you at? What's up? But low key Baruch is trash at the same time. But yeah, what was I talking about? Something about why I chose marketing. So the reason why I chose paid social, I thought that this was the future. I felt like social media is where it's at, and I felt like, okay, I was thinking of job losses. So like, if something went down in the world, like of course none of us knew that this pandemic would happen, or anything like that, or anything similar to that, like that. I was like, all right, I feel like social media would be one of the jobs that are still standing. So I basically was looking at it from the perspective of like, what's a career that will give me stability, and I felt like digital marketing is the wave, like something in the digital field. And I was like, okay, social media is interesting. I'm gonna go for that sector of the world, of that industry. So that's literally the main reason why I went for it, for stability, and because it was interesting in the social media aspect, just because it's like, wow, there's like peaks during the day of when people are interested or when they want to post and everything. Like there's a whole algorithm behind Facebook and Instagram, and it's just so complex that I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Definitely, I agree. I think that's like, I think the way we see marketing now, it's not just limited to magazines or commercials on TV or billboards. It's like a lot of people get their content from social media, right? Like you said,
Right.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Now TikTok's becoming a thing,
Oh,
and like people
crazy.
are becoming like celebrities off of just being on Instagram and promoting messaging, marketing, like the little teas or the diet teas or like the gym clothes or the strips or like the bra. I don't even know what they and the
I
blenders,
know. It's a lot.
so many different things, and it's like I think it is the new wave. I agree. Like I was talking to someone the other day. Like I think as much as people like to talk bad about social media and how horrible it is, I think there is some good that comes from it, because like you can use that as a platform to spread any type of message, right? Whether you're selling it for a business, whether you're talking about it for a cause. Like we clearly see, like so for people who are listening in the future, I'm filming this episode after the death, unfortunately, in the murder of I think 3 Black lives that have recently been brutalized by the police or other vigilantes. And the one thing I saw was like social media blew up, right? Everyone started posting these messages, and like it was just all over. So it's like I know that this, like I can tell this is the future, right? This is how people are gonna market things. This is how people are gonna protest. This is how people are gonna use. This is the platform people are gonna flock to for everything. So you made like the smart choice, and you can work from home. Like so, regardless of like, let's say
Oh
this
no, you're
pandemic.
lagging.
Oh no. Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think social media is the new platform, is the new wave of how messages are being spread, and businesses are using this as a way to market to their consumers, right? We see Nike, they're on Instagram, Apple, like every single corporation out there is on Instagram at this point, or some type of social media. So, hold on.
With you.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. So for that's for back to being recorded. I had a call for 2 seconds, but anyway. So I definitely like do agree. I think like social media is the new wave, and like you can work from home, right? It's like you're
Perfect.
do from anywhere for the most part, and like let's say something like, so honestly, this is like coronavirus is gonna go away anytime soon. So this is a great time to like look
Right.
into more remote careers. I think that's what everyone's doing. But like, everyone's like looking for a more remote career to do. Right? They don't want to go to the
Yeah.
office anymore. They want to start doing like they want to start being able to like not want to commute anymore. And I think that's like you made a good choice. So like I would
Yeah.
love to hear specifically like about your challenges in marketing. Like we've seen like in Mad Men, it's like very male dominated sometimes in business and like
Yes.
very white dominated. So I would love to know like what challenges have you faced in your career, in your marketing career, and like of course we talk about challenges, but I would also love to know like the lessons that you learned and your biggest accomplishments so far.
Okay, yeah. So I totally agree with what you said beforehand, where social media does have its angels and it does has its demons, but it's also dependent on how you're utilizing the platform. You know what I mean? So that's like if you're promoting justice and fighting for justice, then of course that's like a good deed. It's like a good, it's like a nice angel effect where you're trying to help and reach out to people in a good way and trying to create that beautiful community and bring everyone together. Um, but moving alongside of that, in my experience in marketing, I definitely um, had some challenges that I faced on my own. I can 100% say that it is nothing like Mad Men. Like watching Mad Men, I just felt so heated just because of the structure and the male dominance and the toxic masculinity in there. It's not like that in the marketing industry at this age. Thank God, because I would just it just wouldn't cut it for me. But the challenges within social media that I faced was actually the happy hours. Believe it or not, like I just felt that the happy hours were just so awkward for me. First of all, like my first encounter with my director in happy hour was just so awkward. Like it's like so cringeworthy. Like I needed more alcohol in me in order to have like a good conversation. Like it was just so bad. I barely had a sip of like a drink, and I just see her. She's like, "I'll tell you the story." So she's just like, she walks up to me and my coworker, and she's just like, "Hey guys, like what's up?" Like she's a really cool person, you know what I mean? And being that this was like my first happy hour, I really set the foundation really low. Like it was just so crazy. So she was just like, "Oh, hey guys, like what's up and everything," and I low-key was nervous because I was just like in a huge crowd of like industry people that I don't know and everything. And I tried to reach out and talk to different people, but it's honestly a bit clicky, I would say. You know, like if they don't know you, they're not really necessarily going to speak to you. And also, it's sometimes like when having those conversations, looking back at it now, it's the conversations were just so mundane. Like it was very bland, and it was just like, all right, like I kind of don't even want to be here. Like you know what I mean? Like conversations just didn't go well within the happy hour. I don't know if it was me or maybe it was them or maybe it was both ways, but of course like every situation is different, but I just felt like happy hours were just not for me. Just be, just because like also it's like I already spent basically 9 hours with you. Kind of want to go home. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to spend like another hour with you to grab a drink. Like I'd rather like go home, get a watch Netflix or like do some yoga or like some shit like that. I don't know. That's just me. That's just my preference. I'm like an introvert sometimes. I could be an extrovert if I wanted to. Like I'm basically an ambivert, right? But those are some of the challenges. Yeah, those are some of the challenges that I face. It's literally just the happy hours. But um, being in the industry long enough, I definitely did find my crew, which was great. And we just like, I'm not even gonna say because I have like some coworkers who follow me, but like we have like a good crew going on and everything. And what was the? I felt like there was a second part to the question: challenges I faced, and what was the next part?
Lessons that you learned and your accomplishments so far in your career.
The lessons. Okay, cool. So the lessons I learned within marketing industry is basically like honestly, you gotta fight for your position. Literally, no matter what, you seriously have to fight for it. You gotta like really not give your 100%. You gotta give like your 200 to really show that you need to earn and keep your position. At least that's how I see it, right? Because there are definitely so many people out there who may be trying to claim your position or trying to say like I'm better than you. That's from my experience, right? And you also, I would also recommend to reach out to your higher ups. Like they're always there for you. And honestly, I'm very thankful for the team that I have right now because they just have such a beautiful dynamic of teaching you and excuse me, always like having an open door policy kind of thing where it's like, all right, if I don't know how to do this thing, if I don't know how to create this insight or read this audience, like they're more than happy to take some time and sit down with you and really listen to you, you know what I mean? So I don't feel like you should ever be afraid to reach up no matter what their position. Just talk to them, just reach out to them, ask them questions. Like asking questions is so important in this industry because it really shows that you're engaged and it really shows that you care about what's going on and you care about the work that you're doing. You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, that was the lesson that I learned from marketing right now.
And that's definitely like I think I agree. I think especially for like women and like women of color, it's like you have to advocate for yourself, ask questions, like stand up for yourself with like higher ups. So like I definitely agree because sometimes like your higher up may not know exactly what you want as an employee, and like sometimes it's like not a fault. Like, they're not being like malicious or not like no fault of their own, but it's like we kind of have to like advocate for ourselves, and it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
one of the difficult things like I'm still working on, like having to advocate for myself in my space. And
That's
I
a
agree, like
fact.
it's like you have to like be on your A game. Like, okay, so like the biggest question that's been coming, so a lot of people have Zoom happy hours, and it's like, am I forced
Oh
to
yeah.
go? Because like, what excuse do you have? Right? You can't be like, oh, I have a family emergency, have to take care of, or I like, because like,
Right.
okay, I don't like going to work events because I'm someone who personally likes to keep my work life very separate from my personal life, and I'm in
Right.
an industry that's a little more conservative, so it's like me having to drink, I feel like super uncomfortable doing that because you never know whose eyes are watching. So,
Right.
and like also like I just feel like I can't be myself, right? Like it's like I don't want to spend like 8 hours with you and then have to spend another three not being myself. Like I'd rather just go home,
Right.
go boxing, go hang out with my dog, go hang out with my friends, and be myself in my space.
Mm-hmm.
But people are talking about like Zoom happy hours or like, is it mandatory to go? And it's like, because I thought to myself at the other, so like the other day, my job had like a lunch or like an office lunch, and I'm like, I really don't want to go to this. Like I
Right.
would rather spend log, away from work. Yes, I'm working from home, but that doesn't mean I'm available all the time to talk to you or want to be engaged in work. But it's like if I don't go, then I can get in trouble with my boss, and then like and it's just like it's. I feel like happy hours should be like I think they should be optional, but I think bosses should say that and be like, if you don't feel comfortable going, you don't have to go. Because I feel like bosses don't do
Right.
that. They'll be like, yeah, person who work happy hours, whether it's like on Zoom or like in person, your
Mm-hmm.
boss needs to be like, this is optional, no obligation to go. And I think that's something bosses need to learn because not everyone wants to do it. And like, also not everyone drinks. Like, there's some people who like would choose to be sober for like, medical reasons or religious reasons or mental health reasons. There's some people like, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to drink. You know what I mean? Like, I've, ever since I started working out, I definitely cut back on my alcohol intake a lot more. And like, there are times
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to drink. So it's
Yeah.
like I definitely think happy hour, yes, it's great networking, but it should not be mandatory. I think bosses need to just be like, this is an optional thing. You don't have to go. And
Right.
yeah, oh my
No,
god, yeah.
yeah, no, I 100% hear you. I just feel like it puts more stress on you, and especially since it's work from home now, it's also like, all right, now we got the whole wide people. They see you in your pajamas. Like, I don't know if you dress up, but I definitely don't dress up. Like, I don't put on makeup. I don't do anything. Like, I don't even wear jewelry anymore. Like, I literally a bum. Like, I'm okay with my internal team seeing me looking like a bum, but letting my president see me, it's just like, nah, man. Like, cameras up. I don't want to do this happy hour, and also it's like the happy hours. They're just filled with like moms and dads and their kids. Like, you literally see they're like, oh, look at my son, look at my kid. It's just like cute. Like, that's great. Like, I don't know you like that, but hi.
No, yeah, and I agree. Like, I think like work happy hours, like I don't dress up either. Like, so there are times like I'll wear like a sweatshirt because like just so no one sees. Like, I don't wear a bra at home. Honestly, like I don't. So like wear a sweatshirt to
or ever.
And then like you're lucky if I even wear underwear or pants. Like sometimes it's just like a sweatshirt and then cooch. Like that's how gross it is. Like it's literally like
I love it.
coochie. And it's like, I hate it. And I also feel like, yeah, you're right. Like, you're welcoming people into your home that you may not want them to see. Like, I live at home with family still. I don't want to, like, do something and have, like, my family's privacy compromised, or, like, my mom walking into my room asking me a question, or, like, things like that. And it's like, I don't really want my space being compromised. And it's like,
that's true.
I think, like, happy hour is, like, I mean, thankful. My boss is trying to plan one, and I'm just like, please don't, please don't. Like, I'm ready. Like, please don't.
They're like, sorry, I got a shit ton of work to do. I can't make it.
I can't even say like, oh yeah, I can't come because like I have to go see my grandma in like Jersey or something. Like, I can't lie. I'm fucking out. Like,
ain't nobody going anywhere.
No one's
going
like
creative with these excuses.
It's also weird. Like, I don't want to be drinking with my coworkers and my boss, and like like I don't know. It just feels so weird. I think like Zoom happy hours. I get it. Like, people want to stay connected, and it's a time where people do feel alone. But no, like I would rather have a Zoom happy hour with my best friend or something.
Right.
Like, or like a Zoom, I don't know, FaceTime thing with like my friends afterwards. Like, I don't want to be sitting there after work with my boss, my coworkers. You know what I mean? I would rather go talk to my friends, or you know what I mean? Or yeah, like I would rather do that. And even like quarantine dating scares me. Like, honestly,
how is that? How is that for you?
So I actually don't date anymore. So like I'm retired from the game. Oh well, you have a boyfriend.
You're retired.
I'm retired from the game. I mean, so I'm on any apps or anything, but like it's in like, okay, first of all, I can't sit with a guy in real life for more than 2 hours without getting bored. Like, I get bored super easily. This is like my friend.
I feel you.
It gets to a point where like I start thinking about my friends. I'm like, okay, what are they doing right now? So I can go see. Like, that's the person I am. And it's like,
I used to think like that.
Yeah, and then you find like that, like, now you're in love. I mean, granted, so like, okay, so for me, I feel like quarantine dating is a mess. Like, I don't know how to do it. It's so awkward. I mean, like, I can imagine people like going on Bumble, swiping, having to sit there and dress up like in your room.
Right.
It's the worst. I'm like that gives me.
It's weird. We weren't prepared for this, you know? Like, no one is. It's so weird. It's a whole new dynamic of dating.
I know. So one of my best friends, so she's like in a committed relationship for 2 years, and she was like, I thought me and my boyfriend we met through online apps, and I thought that was weird. Like, that was like new and different. And now people are actually meeting in a newer way where they're going on FaceTime and dating. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I don't even like FaceTiming my friends. Like, I can't even.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish they had like filters or something.
Oh my god! I feel like if I ever has to quarantine meeting, I would have to bring like filters. I don't want to sit in my room with like my outfit and have my mom not be like, immigrant house.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so you're gonna meet my family, like, no big deal. You know, like touche.
Honestly, so yeah, I know I retired right out. Like I retired before quarantine, so like I'm glad I never had to engage in quarantine dating.
Focus on you, boo boo.
Yeah, it's literally me and like I'm done. I can't. And I'm like, and like, not, I mean, like, I don't know. My friends have like, they're everyone's kind of like, we're getting to that point where like, I think because I'm 26 now, and like all my friends are like around that same age, and like we're like, yeah, we're tired of men. We can't do it. So we're not.
I'm
We all
so
retired.
weak.
We all retired at like the perfect time because no one can go out and like date in the club anymore or talk to guys. So I think our dating retirement ended at a perfect time. This is a great time to not.
Dude, sometimes you just gotta take that break, you know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
men, some men, they just show themselves and they don't meet the bar, you know what I mean?
They
They
don't
just
hit
don't
the
meet it,
bar.
and it's just like, come on,
Yeah.
you're really making yourself look bad out here, you know? Like, I'm giving you, like, something nice, you know?
Exactly. Like I don't know, but anyway, I just brought happy. I'm like, this is probably the greatest time to bring that up. I'm like, Zoom marketing, moving. I don't know, but anyway, we're going so off the record. But anyway, so yeah, I would love to know. Like, I think the last question I'd like to ask you is like, so when you're creating a message, right? Like, okay, I don't know how to use Instagram. My Instagram is like all over the place. I like to do my Instagram, my dog's Instagram, my show's Instagram, and it's all a mess. So it's like,
It's honestly really good from what I've
really,
seen. It's actually pretty good. You have an aesthetic, so that's great. You have a logo, that's awesome. Like, your handle is not, it's easy and it flows easy on the tongue. So I think you're doing a pretty good job there.
perfect. Okay. But it's like I think like when I would love to hear like how do you know how to craft like a perfect social media campaign? How do you know how to craft a good and effective marketing plan? What goes into that work? How do you know like how many hashtags to use or what filters to use, what graphics to use and things like that?
Yeah. So it's
And also like what time to post and like how to beat that IG algorithm.
Girl, I got you. We can even discuss this after. um, but so it's always dependent on what the client goal is. Always got to think of what their business objective is, and understanding how much financial budget they have, and then their marketing objectives, right? So that when considering all of that, engagement is key, because if there is no engagement between the audience and your brand, then nothing is happening, and then nothing will be put out, and no one will recognize your brand, or they won't remember it, um, or even interact with it or share it. We want the user to engage with your post or with your video, or whatever content you share with them. So in that case, when understanding what your core brand has, like what the values are, that is dependent on like if it will align with the consumer. And of course, the consumer, they'll see like, oh, like rooftop conversations, like this is about seeing the successful people in life and knowing how they got there, what they've done, and the challenges they face within the industry, no matter what areas they've gone in, right? And having to create that audience, you're seeing like their behaviors, you're seeing what their interests are, and then you're creating that one audience and putting all of that in together, and that way you're reaching out to those specified people. So that's just like on an audience level work. In terms of creating an effective message, I guess I would say to definitely, I mean, this is from coming from a creative standpoint, and then I'll go into the caption standpoint. So creative standpoint is basically the content you're sharing, and what you want to do is always have your logo or always have your um, brand be seen. Like, we don't want to see it so late for the user to not see it, if that makes sense. Um, just because like if the user doesn't see your brand or doesn't see your logo, then they're not gonna relate like or understand like who this is or where this is coming from. You know what I mean? And then in terms of the copy, like the caption is key. Like, you definitely want to have a CTA. So a CTA is basically a call to action. So that's like saying shop now, or watch now, or learn more, or like discover this, or come join us on our Instagram live today, or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's always like you have to basically tell them what to do, but in like a nice way, or like depending if your brand is aggressive, and let them know like, yo, you gotta come through right now, like come join us, or it's always dependent on what your brand values are, like if you want like a luxe experience for the consumer, or if you want like a very passive way to reach out to the consumer. Like it's all dependent. I hope that helps.
That's so interesting. Like, this is something I'm definitely going to take into consideration when I do my marketing for this show, and like when I, eventually move on to other things where I have to promote a message, campaigning. I don't know when that's going to be these days, but definitely this is so important. So thank you so much for like sharing that insight with me. So we're coming up on our hour, and like, oh my god, I think this is like probably one of the more like funner conversations. Like not funner. I mean, like every conversation is interesting that I've had so far. But I think it's interesting because like we
Yeah.
have laughs and stuff. So I would love to know like if there's anything that you want to promote on your end, like maybe your own Instagram or your business or anything that you would like to promote. This is your time.
Time to shine. Okay. Well, I do want to say that I am helping out with friends right now and building social campaigns throughout social media, as you guys know, Facebook, Instagram, yada yada yada. So if you guys are starting up a new business or need help with your social marketing, I am definitely here. Like I am also trying to build my own portfolio, so definitely shoot me up, whatever. And I'm here to help you. Like I'll give you advice, whatever kind of consultation you guys need. I'm here to help. Don't feel threatened.
And where's the best time? Like, what's the best way for people to like contact you? Like email, Instagram, or what is like the best way for people to contact you?
Just DM me. Like, just DM me at my handle at Camille.tata. 2 L's in Camille. And yeah.
Yeah, and I'll definitely add it all into like the bio description below for everyone to like definitely come through and talk to you about things like that. So thank you so much, Genevieve, for joining me. I really appreciate this. It's amazing catching up. It's interesting. We haven't seen each other in the longest, and like definitely miss you. Definitely miss all the things that we used to do back then.
I know.
I was like, I like. It's so funny. As much as I hated the experience that we had, I'm glad I shared it with you, and I'm glad that like I made some funny memories out of it. So thank you so much. Yes. I'll see you soon.
Bye. Bye.